Hello, you're back with Beatle. We are back on Heroes V Hordes. Today we're going to be doing the ultimate kill race between the Spirit Shaman and the Frost Wizard. Before we jump into that, just thought I would mention that around 90% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. So if you do like the content, please do subscribe. That would be much appreciated. But here we just see the Frost Wizard that I will be using, level 49. And we're going to jump straight into the dungeon event. So as you can see here, I haven't actually done this one yet. So the record here is still 0, and here we go. Frost Wizard is first up. I've sped the gameplay up slightly just so we can try and get through both runs a bit quicker to try and keep things as fair as possible. A couple of rules are that I will try to get the same weapons with the same tomes for both heroes, and every time that there is an upgrade available either for the Ice Gauntlet or the Spirit Staff, I will get both of those. Obviously, there is still going to be some element of luck, as I can't promise to get the exact same weapons at the same times and the same tomes, etc. So there will be an element of luck, but this is the sort of closest I could get to actually see which is better. It is a question that I have wondered for a long time in terms of who can get the most kills. So in this dungeon event, the aim I'm trying to get to sort of get promoted is 14,000 kills, and that's what I've been struggling with since I've got to tier 3. I initially changed from the Shaman into the Frost Wizard, thinking that is something that would help me get the kills. Still struggling, so I've decided to take the plunge, spend 750 gems to reset the Frost Wizard after this, just so I can put all the levels back into the Spirit Shaman, who again would be level 49. We just get the magnet rewards there to try and get a level up. Unfortunately, wasn't quite enough gems on the floor. So I've got the Chain Lightning, I've got the Boomerang, I've got the Fire Orbs, and then obviously I've got the Ice Gauntlet as well as the weapon. Tome-wise, it is just the damage and the projectiles so far, I believe. We actually have the Poison Darts as well, I forgot to mention there. And we just completed the Iron tier there around the 7-minute mark. I'm not too sure what the sort of the good markers are. They will just upgrade the Poison Darts as well. Really trying to just get that Evo upgrade, as I think that is when the Poison Dart does the most damage. But on the DPS and damage done, the Poison Dart even is still really high. But obviously the Venom Vial, the Evo upgrade for that is always at the top. So that's something that I do try and get pretty much in most of these runs. And there we get the damage tome, just to try and make sure that we are one-shotting all of the creatures on the screen. We just keep running around trying to kill as many as we can. Here we get the heal as late as possible, just so we can collect as many of the orbs as we can, and we'll upgrade the Ice Gauntlet there. That I generally think kills the most enemies, even though the damage might not be the highest. I do think it does actually kill the most enemies. So it'd be interesting to see if they actually had and sort of an enemies killed tracker per weapon, and because I think sometimes that might be different from the DPS or damage dealt, which can be a bit skewed. So for example, the DPS, why the Venom Vial might have a much higher DPS is obviously because you get it right at the end of the game, usually when there is a lot more enemies on the screen. So you're sort of, the first time it's being used is against a lot of enemies, so the damage per second will be a lot higher, purely just because there's a lot of enemies on the screen. So when you compare the damage per second against the Ice Gauntlet or the Frost Gauntlet, that will be lower because you've had to use that from the start of the game where there aren't as many enemies, so the damage on average over that time period will be lower. Hope that makes sense. So I think the enemies killed per weapon I think would also be an interesting stat. I'm not sure if that's something that they would be able to work out or not, but I think that would be able to give us a better comparison in terms of how the weapons actually do, because the DPS and even the damage dealt I think is heavily skewed towards when you actually got the upgrade or the weapon. Either way, I think obviously it is going to be a good weapon if the DPS and damage is high. It just doesn't necessarily mean it's killed the most enemies. Here I think we kill that little boss, get the chest, get the Fire Orbs. So with that, I think that's now level 4 or 5. It pretty much means as soon as you've got it, I'm able to run through all the enemies. I think I'm trying to complete this as, you know, my aim is still to get as many kills as possible with both. I'm trying to keep it as fair as possible by actually trying to get as many kills as I can. I'm not sort of leaning towards one or the other. Ideally, I'm actually just still trying to get the 14,000 kills. I'm here because I feel like I'm already actually killing all the enemies pretty much in one shot. I do take a gamble, reshuffle that, don't get the damage tome, but I don't come away with anything really that handy. I was hoping for another weapon upgrade, but it is what it is, and that's why luck is still a bit of a factor in this run. But we will keep going. I think that the last minute or so is where the majority of the enemies are actually killed. Really luckily there, though, we actually get 3 upgrades from that chest. Usually it's just 1, so I do take that, but that second mini boss doesn't drop anything, so I guess that sort of even things out. We get the poison dart there. That is only 1 away from the Evo upgrade now. It is a little bit too little too late that it comes so late on in the run. I think in order to get 14,000, bit of a spoiler alert, I don't get 14,000 kills, but I think you just need to get really lucky on the upgrades to be able to get the Evo upgrade early enough for it actually to do the damage. But there you can see the poison dart, the ice gauntlet, and the chain lightning being at the top, and that is the dungeon challenge complete for the Frost Wizard. 10,666 kills to beat, or 664 to beat. Then here we go. There's the Spirit Shaman. I've reset everything. He's the same level 49. Cost me 750 gems, and we're going to see if we are able to beat the 10,664 kills with the Spirit Shaman now. So we'll start the run. Here I really try my best to stay on top of at least one of the spirits at all times. Usually I head for the big one. First weapon we pick up is the crossbow. I don't think we had that in the other run, in the Frost run, but it was just one of the best weapons there. And there we get the boomerang, which was in the other run. And here I think we just upgrade the boomerang again, as I think at the start at least damage is usually high enough to kill them in one. So you just want as many projectiles on the screen as possible. There we get the chain lightning, always a good one just to kill the enemies that are a bit further apart. And there we just pick up the fire orbs, which we had in the Frost Wizard run as well. So far it is relatively similar in terms of what weapons we are using, and there I just upgrade the fire orbs again. What I do notice when using the Spirit Shaman is it's a bit trickier to sort of, you can't just run through the enemies because the Spirit Shaman doesn't actually have his own attack, whereas the Frost Wizard obviously does. You're a bit safer to just try and run through. There I do a reshuffling and get the crossbow again, which I think is a very handy weapon for this type of game. But as you can see with those little red enemies that run through you, where there's a large amount, sometimes it's tricky because you can't just do what the Frost Wizard does and sort of kill them all in one fell swoop. But we get the magnet there, we upgrade the chain lightning, and I'm just trying to stay on top of the sort of spirit tortoise most of the time. If the others need to be healed or whatever, then I do go on top of them. There I think we upgrade the boomerang, which I think is very handy when using the Spirit Shaman. Because he doesn't have an attack of his own, the sort of boomerangs come from within him. So if enemies do get close, then that is sort of a last line of defense, so he doesn't get hit. I suppose it's similar to the fire orbs as well. It's always handy for the Spirit Shaman to have those closer range weapons, as he doesn't have one of his own. And yeah, here you can see it just sort of running around trying to upgrade the weapons, trying to stay as close to the spirits as possible. They get a movement and attack buff if I am within their radius, as well as they heal, and if I'm on top of them, they're pretty much invulnerable. They wouldn't be able to die. There's nothing that would be able to do more damage than I heal them up, so it's always handy to stay on top of them, and generally they can take hits for you, but they actually kill really quickly. As it was at this point in the game where the Frost Wizard had around 3,150 kills, whereas now we've got just over 3,400. So Spirit Shaman is in the lead. However, I do generally think that the Spirit Shaman is always going to be better at starting off as the Frost Wizard's attack when you first start the game, it is always going to be a lot slower. Everything about it is slower. The attack radius and the damage is lower, and there's obviously only one attack, whereas the Spirit Shaman, you have 3 spirits running around killing. So I think the start is always going to be better with the Spirit Shaman, but once you get the upgrades of the Ice Gauntlet, I think that's where it generally can come into its own, and if you get the right upgrades at the right time, whether or not that is better than the Spirit Staff, that is exactly, I suppose, what this video is for, to see what is best. I also think it's probably worthwhile mentioning the sort of efficiency in which you play the Spirit Shaman. So right at the start, and even through the mid-game, I suppose, I think it's definitely worth staying on top of the spirits. I think as you get your own weapons and they upgrade and you can kill, as you'll see in this game, I sort of go back into just trying to run around and kill them myself. I don't know if that is more efficient or not, but once the upgrades come through, I suppose I sort of generally feel like I can kill more enemies when I'm actually running around trying to kill them, as opposed to just hanging fire and sat on the spirits themselves. And at this point, we had actually built up a slight comfortable lead ahead of the Frost Wizard. Although I didn't know it at this point. I couldn't remember whilst playing it, what was in the lead, what wasn't. So obviously, I'm still trying to do my best to get as many kills as I can. The aim is still to get the 14,000 kills. Whether or not we reach it in this video, I guess you'll have to wait till the end to find out. But we do manage to get an Evo upgrade of the Fire Obs, and here is where I decide I'll just start running around and trying to kill them more myself. And the spirits, if they kill on their own, that's just a bit of a bonus. I think that's the right decision, as I think I get to kill more with this flame wheel than if I was to just sit back a bit more and sit on the spirits themselves. Do let me know what you think is the best tactic there. I do think I played it right in terms of sitting on the spirits towards the start and middle of the game when I needed to, but now that I can pretty much run and kill anything instantly, is where I decide I'll just run and go solo and pick up the punching glove there, and just being able to run through the enemies is, I think, really helping, and it does help me get kill as many enemies as I can. And there we even get the Thunderbolt. So whether or not this result is going to be skewed of the luck of the sort of other weapons that I managed to get, I don't actually think I got an Evo upgrade with the Frost Wizard, but as you can see, I've already surpassed what the Frost Wizard scored. But it's not that close, really. There's sort of nearly 2,000 kills between them, just less than 2,000, which is considerable. And I don't know whether you can put that down to just the actual weapons or the upgrades that we got. Not too sure, but there we have it. The Spirit Shaman does come out on top, so I am glad I spent the 750 gems to get this. So I will be sticking with the Frost Wizard for now, and there you can see our record now, 11,831. Still a far cry away from the 14,000 that I'm still targeting to get. So any tips that you have on how to get there, please do let me know. But if you have got this far in the video, much appreciated. Hope it's been helpful. Please do like or subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you very much.